So there have been a question, or at least one question, about understanding the process for solving linear equations. Now, linear equations is really kind of a algebra 1 thing. I have a whole section on the YouTube channel about solving equations, and it's goofy and weird, so it shouldn't be. If you need it, it's there, and it shouldn't be too scary. But anyway, here's this one, and I'll do another video about graphing them in just a minute. But to solve them, you just basically have to follow a few rules. The first rule that I always do, and this isn't a rule per se, and really this is just one of them, probably hundreds of procedures that you could use. I kind of draw a line down the equal sign. The next thing I want to do is distributive property. So I need to distribute out here. So this 3 is being multiplied by this whole term, because touching in algebra means that they're multiplying. So this 3 is touching the parentheses, so it's multiplied by both terms. So it's 3x, and then 3 times 4 is plus 12. That's 6x. So the question's asking, like, well, what could Stephen have written for the result of step 1? So they want to know what I put here. Well, we just figured that out. So I'm just going to go in and say, well, try this one, right? Click on that, move forward. And it's probably going to tell me that I've won the game and I have to continue forward, which will take about a second. So just chill out. There you go. All right. Create a list of steps in order that you will solve the equation. So the easiest way to do this is just to solve it. And in general, the plan is to try to get the variable by itself by moving the thing that's furthest away from it. So to me, I'm going to sort of subtract 6 from both sides. Because here's the x right there. The 1/7 is touching it, so that's not the furthest thing away. Instead, I need to get rid of plus 6. To get rid of plus 6, I use the opposite, minus 6, because that would make this 0, by the way. That's why you do that. But if you do something to one side of an equation, you have to do it to the other. Otherwise, it's not equal. That's the whole point of an equation. Now, what do I have to do? Well, x is touching 1/7, which means they are multiplying. So to get rid of it, I could divide by 1/7. But what they want you to do, which is just, it's totally fine to do it that way, is instead of dividing by 1/7, because it's the reciprocal, which means you flip it over, and it's the same thing, like 1/7. Circle, arrow, circle, semicircle, arrow, semicircle, arrow. The reciprocal of it is 7/1. They don't have the same value, obviously, but it's reciprocal. With that said, another way to get rid of divide by 7, or divide by, sorry, another way to get rid of times 1/7, sheesh, other than divide by 1/7, is just to multiply 1/7 times 7. And the reason that works is because 7/1 times 1/7, and 7 by itself is anything a number on its own is over 1. So 3 is really 3/1. You just don't, because 3 divided by 1 is 3, that whole thing. So 7 times 1 will give you 7. 1 times 7 will give you 7. And you'd end up with 1. So you'd have that 1x that you're looking for in that last step. You don't have to write the 1 there if you don't want to. But so instead of saying, okay, let's divide by 1/7, another option that I could have is to just multiply it by the reciprocal times 7. And then you get 35. And you can test it if you're so inclined to do so. 7 times 5 is, 35 times 1/7, or 35 divided by 7 is 5, plus 6 gives you 11. So that would work. So all I need to do is pull the values in. I need to get rid of plus 6 by subtracting 6 from both sides. Bloop. And then I need to multiply both sides by 7. I don't need to do anything else. That's it. There it is. So let's look at another one. Same type of thing here. No big deal. Just solve it on the side. 4x plus 13 equals 37. I'm going to draw my line because that's how I do. Here's my x. The x wants to be by itself. It needs to get rid of the furthest thing away. Well, 4 is touching it, so that's not the furthest thing away. It's plus 13. On the furthest thing away on the same side of the line, I should say. X is like, get out of my room. So, whatever. Anyway, to get rid of plus 13, I need to subtract 13. And then 37, so it'd be 1 here, and then 3 minus 1 is 24. These will cancel out. I bring down 4, and the reason they cancel out, of course, is because 13 minus 13 is 0, and you don't need to put plus 0 here. That'd be crazy. Bring 4x down because we didn't do anything with it yet. So it says times 4x. Now to get rid of it, I need to use the opposite operation. So divide by 4. X is equal to 6. You can test it. 4 times 6 is 24, plus 13 is 37. So that should work. Now, to tell it what we did, the first thing we did was subtract 13 from both sides. And then we divided both sides by 4. And I'll do one more and that's it. I don't want this to last forever and make you sit here. So Jamie is, or Jamie, is solving the following problem for homework. She completes, or Jamie, it could just be Jamie now that I realize it. Who knows? Who knows? I don't know this person, so I'm sorry if I'm saying a fictional person's name incorrectly. I don't know where you're from. She completes the problem as seen in the steps below. When she gets to the school the next day, the teacher tells her that the answer is x equals negative 13. Where did she mess up? So we just need to analyze what she did and see where she made a mistake, which is not really a bad thing. You know, just because she missed this question is not the end of the time. End of time. It was just a normal thing to happen. So she has her assignment. The first thing that she needed to do, I mean, theoretically, is do the. She needs to do the distributive property. But in this case, like I said before, that's one of the procedures. There's plenty of them. We'll just see whether she made any math mistakes. See, I like to move the thing furthest from x away first. I always like to do distributive property first because it makes things look easier. But they didn't want to do that. Or she didn't want to do that. She wanted to get rid of the furthest thing away from x now, which this is plus 3. It's fine. And then she said, well, the furthest thing away now is 1/9. So to get rid of times 1/9, she's going to multiply by 9 like we did with 1/7. And then she's left with this. So to get back to her final point, or to get to the final answer, she needs to get rid of plus 4. So she needs to subtract 4 to get negative 13. There's the problem right there. What she likely did is didn't write that last step. This is a real common thing. You don't write that last step and you just think it in your head, well, 9 and 4, that would be negative 5. So I'll just put that down. But it's actually becoming more negative. So she made her mistake right here in step 3. Even though she didn't follow the same sequence of events that generally I would solve them with, she was still making mathematically appropriate movements until she got here. And then she messed it up. Just being careless would be my guess. So that's it. Understanding the process of solving linear equations. Get a system that works best for you, for your own solving, and then when you have to look at other people's work, just kind of get a feel for, okay, well, is this mathematically appropriate? Am I doing the same thing to both sides? Am I using opposite operations to eliminate things? As long as the rules are being followed, math opens up a lot of different pathways to get you to the answer.